How do I fucking do these? Hi, my name is Jake Bova. You might know me as Lord Bova. Whatever. How do I do these ones? Hi, my name is Jake. I play the character Lord Henry Bova in a lot of the LARPs that I play. Today I'm doing less of a review and more of a show you. I was asked to help out with some tutorials, and I think it is a good idea to do something that I know how to do. And what I know how to do is make leather badges. Alright, first off, let's talk about what a leather badge is. Leather badges are usually made of scrap leather or dedicated leather. They are nice little colored engraved pieces that you can put onto gambesons, armor, adorn anywhere you want, and it just generally shows off more accolades, factions, who you are as a character. So the badges can be any sort of size, shape, color, can be engraved with whatever you like. Your imagination's really the limit here. First things first, you're gonna need a piece of scrap leather, or dedicated leather if this is something you're trying to do right now. I like to use scrap because, well, I have a lot of it. Next, let's talk about the shape of the badge. You can use any part of this piece of leather. You can use the corners, the frayed edges. On a lot of orc or bestial stuff, I like to use the frayed parts or the ripped up parts to kind of give it that used appearance. But if you don't want to freehand your stuff, I like to use templates. I have a bunch of these little templates here that I've cut out in different sizes and shapes. Very simple. Next, we're going to find a piece of the leather that we are going to use for the badge. It's a good idea to use all the leather you can. Let's not be wasteful. So try to find a nice corner in which to put this in. A lot of the ways you might want to turn the leather over to make sure there's no dead spots on it, no cracks in it. Now that it's here, probably find this good spot here. That's pretty good. You don't want to waste. You can use your leather for a lot of different crafts. So let's go ahead and draw out our shape. We're going to be cutting into this. So it's good to have a approximation of where it sits. Now, I have my template marked with a halfway point in the middle here. You're going to want to go ahead and make a little mark on your leather to show where the halfway point is. This is good for design purposes. It's good to know where the middle of your badge is. Now that we have our piece laid out, we can start getting into the design of what we're going to do here. All right, well, I am going to go with a sort of Empire Knight kind of look here. So I want to go ahead and use a lot of skull material. You can use templates for this kind of stuff. You can freehand it. You know, no wrong way to go about it, but I like to use templates here, make it easier on myself. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the middle and center. You can use different markers for this kind of thing to help, you know, layer your design. Might make it easier for you to make these designs. I've been doing this long enough that I don't really need to do that, but it's a good tip for people starting out. I'm just trying to find the center of my piece. That way I know where to place my skull. A lot of the Empire uses skulls, so we're gonna be trying skulls out here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's pretty centered. I'm gonna make a rough mark as to where it hits. Try to lay it out. It's not dumb. I got dirty fingers. All right, that doesn't look much like a skull, so we're gonna try to do a little carving here. Do a little drawing out so I know where to carve it later, I should say. I'm gonna spin this around. It's really hard to do this upside down. I've drawn just enough skulls. I wasn't even an emo kid. I don't even know why I know how to draw skulls so well. A lot of happy accidents when it comes to skulls. If you end up seeing a skull, odds are a happy accident happened. Oh my god, how do I draw a skull? Oh, they're gonna know I cheated. Okay, now I got the skull there. Did some cheating a little bit. It's not cheating, it's not that bad. Now it's pretty plain here. I might just put like a sort of a bar, a diagonal bar through it, because what are they gonna do? Call the cops? No biggie. That'll be cool. A little stripe through it. Oh, and you know what else we can do? Do some ribboning. Everyone loves ribbons. Even skulls. Skulls like ribbons? It's spooky. Alright, now look at that. It's not only is it all drawn out, but I got a better board because the last one was dirty. The second video is going to be a lot better, I promise. The next thing we're going to want to do is cut this out, but I like to make it easy on myself, and I use a swivel knife to score the leather first before I carve it. It just kind of cleans up the lines, because when you're trying to cut with leather shears, you can kind of get some fraying involved. I don't like that very much. So to do this, we're going to have to wash it down first, wet the leather a little bit so it's easier for us to operate. We're going to wet it using a spray bottle here. You can use any sort of thing you want to wet it with. Use a faucet for all I care. I just have a spray bottle because I'm a bougie bitch. Alright, the swivel knife. I have it marked. I have a dull side on this one. It's a very old swivel knife for me. So you might need a swivel knife for you. Yours won't have that because yours is brand new. Mine's old. I've used this for so many projects. So I'm just going to go in. This is one of those skills every leather worker is going to need to know, is how to use a swivel knife. It's a fantastic thing. A place to rest your finger and a way for you to twist your hand. It's a must-have tool.
Toys R Us. Put on your wish list, babe.
They don't sponsor this. All right, now that this is all scored up, I'm going to use a pair of leather shears to cut this on out here. Now, I use this for armor grade leather. This is not necessarily armor grade, or sole leather as they would call it. Armor grade can vary depending on what LARP you're in. You know, some people like it ultra thick. Some people don't really care about that kind of thing. When it comes to the preferences in leather, for this kind of stuff, for leather badges, I feel like the thinner, the better for me. The leather shouldn't be too soft, not too supple, because it won't hold an edge. It won't hold a lot of the carving that you're going to want to do. So using a very thin but sturdy leather is very important for this kind of work. Let's go ahead and cut this out and try not to damage or waste any of the excess leather. I want to use this for other projects. All right, now that I cut out, you can see I have all this extra leather to play with. Use that somewhere else. All right, now that this is here, I'm gonna go ahead in with a black marker and solidify my line work. So Becca, what's your story? Are you single or what? Or?
I hope all of this is cut. We're not keeping any of this.
Oh, we're keeping all of this.
No. You will speed through.
So you want to get drinks later, or is there a Mr. Becca in your life? All right, now that it's all cut out and marked down, what we're gonna wanna do now is go back in with our swivel knife and define the edges of what we want. Going ahead and reminding myself to spray this down as often as I can so the leather is nice, moist, and it takes to carving a lot better. Ah, it's bugs. My workshop's got bugs in it. So we're gonna go in there and start carving. Now that the leather is moist, carves real nice. When it comes to this kind of carving, I like to think of my image in layers. I take the back layer first. So the back layer for me right now is this one big bar. Now the second layer I'm using is the ribbon. Go ahead, nice firm hand will help the swivel knife cut through. Not too firm though, you don't want to get caught in the leather and cut all the way through. I don't know if a lot of people have that problem, but I do. It's all that gym time. I'm so buff, that's the problem. Everybody's always wondering, like, Jake, why are you buying all this clothing and why are you buying all this armor and stuff like that? Don't you have good stuff? Yeah, I absolutely do. I keep outgrowing my stuff. I'm going through like a new growth spurt in life. The arms don't fit anymore. So if anybody wants to be my new tailor, Lord knows Malia is tired of me coming to her. Some people say that, leatherworking is It's pretty difficult. It makes their teeth hurt, you know, and the sound of it. Well, I just like to tell them, like, you know, you're just carving skin, right? This is just skin that's been dried out and hardened, and you know, if you're a psychopath like me, and carving skin isn't even that hard. Oh, that looks great. Look at that. I love this. I'm gonna put some nice little cuts down here. You know, just like some battle damage stuff. I use the parts of the swivel knife, like the corners and the edges. All right, now that we're done with the swivel knife, next step is to start carving. When it comes to carving, you're gonna want a large number of different carving presses. I've heard people use, you know, just the tip of a pen to do their carving. I mean, we could be done with this right here. This already looks pretty good, but I like to do a little bit more. I like to do some hammer presses into here. So I have a bunch of different little stamps that I use to make my carvings kind of pop out and give definition and texture to it. And these are also pretty cheap. I think each one of these comes in at around, like, you know, $4 or $5 a piece. You might be like, oh, that's expensive, but you know, they never, you know, wear out. They never die, so it's good to have one on you. So I'm gonna pick out some of the textures that I like for this. I'm gonna use all of these. Why am I even trying to choose? So when you're going about stamping out any sort of leather work you're gonna do, it's good to use a bone mallet. You can also use a plastic mallet or any sort of hammer that you want. Honestly, it's just a matter about your preferences and the amount of control that you want over it. I like to use the bone mallet because it doesn't hammer too hard. But to each their own. So the first thing we're gonna carve out is the top layer. When you're making a leatherworking piece like this, it's good to think about it in terms of layers. What's the background, the middle ground, the foreground? What's our topmost layer of this cake? And we're gonna start to carve that out first. That way, if we do any sort of bruises or blemishes, the layer underneath that can be fixed. I'm gonna use pieces out. I'm just gonna go into it. This can be very taxing on your hands, so feel free to take as many breaks as you need to. Sometimes you'll be doing this enough that your hands won't even want to open up. You'll be doing it so much. If you play with it too much, you'll lose it. That's what my dad used to tell me. The leather's gonna want to start to dry out, but if that's the case, go ahead and bring in your spray bottle. Give it a nice spritz. Let it soak in there. The leathers want to be soft and supple again and being ready to carve. Next, we're gonna go in and start doing the heavy pieces. A lot of people ask, hey Jake, does this make your hands hurt a lot? And I just say, yeah. All right, and that's pretty good. We're going to go, oh wait, we're not done yet. No, we're not done yet. It's eyes, it's eyes, it doesn't have eyes. All right, now that we're done with the carving part, I'm gonna go ahead and stain it, paint it, maybe even go over it with a pen and do some nice detailing on it and show you guys the end result. All right, so we're back in a familiar location, and as you can see, the badge is done. It's got a nice little paint job on there. I did some detailing work, and it's all sealed up. I'm now using a acrylic sealer to do this. And as for reference, I am also using acrylic paints. I know some people like to do leather-specific paints, but to each their own, right? So the little detailing on there is a little black wash that's going on top of everything, and there is some pen work I did just to darken up my lines. Otherwise, yeah. So you might be wondering, hey Jake, where you been? You've not been making as much video content as you have lately. Don't worry, I'm not done. I got a lot of content coming out. I've just been a little busy with some LARP projects, one of those being the Midwest LARP Community Board on Facebook. It's a great way for you to get in contact with all of your LARPs around there. If you're part of the Midwest and US and you're looking to LARP, take a look there. There's a lot of people interested. Also, I've been working on my own LARP in Columbus, Ohio. It's the Collegium Tenebris Servi. We're a Warhammer artisan-based LARP with traditional weapons. It's very fun. And if you visit there, maybe you'll get one of these. Or maybe you'll fight me for it. We'll figure it out. Anyways, big thanks to LARP USA for sponsoring this video. Go check them out. They're a wonderful place for any LARPers in the US to connect, share ideas, share photos, and share crafting tutorials like the one you just watched. I hope I've helped. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them below. Like, subscribe, do all the bullshit anyone tells you to do for these kind of videos, and I'll see you in the next one. That seemed like a sign-off.